Let's learn about the belts. There are 2 in total. Both start with some groups. Crochet in rounds around the group's chain. The specific length can be referenced from the chart. If you want to adjust the length, you can increase or decrease the number of starting groups as needed. After completing, sew them onto the corresponding position of the overall lace trim. Please watch me demonstrate the specific method. Pick the corresponding yarn, then start with a chain. Chain 1. Move on to crochet the groups. Start with 2 chains. Pick the initial chain. Insert the back loop. Work 1 double crochet. Complete 1 group. Continue crocheting groups. Start with 2 chains. Then, pick the hole between the double crochet and the chain below. Work 1 double crochet. Another group is completed. Follow the method for the second group. Crochet the corresponding number of groups. After completion, you can check the length then. If you want to adjust it, you can adjust the number of groups based as needed. The starting groups is now finished. Then crochet round 1. Start with a chain. Then pick the whole of the group below. Work 2 single crochets. Continue picking the holes of groups and working 2 single crochets in each. Repeat this process all the way down. Complete crocheting the last hole. Continue working 1 single crochet into the same hole. Then pick the other side of the starting groups. Work 2 single crochets in each hole. Weave in the starting tail as you crochet. Finish crocheting the last hole. Continue with 1 single crochet here. Then pick the back loop of the first single crochet. That's the back strand of the stitch. Work a slip stitch to join. No need to tighten. Round 1 is complete. Continue with round 2. Pick the back loop of each stitch in sequence. That's the back strand. Work a slip stitch into each without tightening. Note not to crochet too tight. Keep the piece flat. Join with a slip stitch to the slip stitch from the previous round. Round 2 is complete. Leave about 10 centimeters of tail and cut the yarn. Hide the tail on the back. The belt is now crocheted. After completion, sew them to the corresponding spaces on the overall lace trim. At the last row of section 1 on the back piece, Have the front face out. Thread it through these spaces. Leave about 25 centimeters for the back piece. Then secure it using the belt yarn. There's no specific sewing method required, just make sure it's securely fastened. Finally, hide the tails. Then bring the longer end out through the corresponding position on the front piece. Then tie a knot according to your preference. Sew the other side symmetrically using the same method. Complete it. That concludes the belt. Lastly, let's learn about the accessories. These are divided into front piece decorations and earrings. The front piece decorations consist of small flowers, irises, leaves, calyxes, stems, and assembly. First, crochet each part separately. Then assemble them into this pattern. Let's start with the small flowers. There are different color schemes, all using the magic ring to start. Then crochet in rounds counterclockwise, and add a bead to the center as the pistil. The new stitch used is the half double crochet. Please watch my demonstration. Start with a magic ring. Note, switch to the corresponding hook for crocheting. Then, crochet round 1. Make 1 chain as beginning chain. In the ring, make 2 single crochets. Then chain 6. Starting from the second to last stitch, pick the back loop of the chains. Correspondingly make 5 single crochets. After completing, make 1 single crochet in the ring. We treat the crocheted stitches as one group. Continue crocheting another group. First, work 2 single crochets. Then 6 chains. Starting from the second to last stitch, correspondingly make 5 single crochets. Then make 1 single crochet in the ring. The second group is completed. Continue to crochet the remaining groups. When completed, close the ring. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the first single crochet. Tighten. Round 1 is complete. Move on to crochet round 2. Slightly enlarge the loop on the left chain. Insert into the entry position of the single crochets. Correspondingly make 2 single crochets. The tail can be woven in together. 1 half double crochet, 1 double crochet. In the final entry position, work 4 double crochets. On the other side, insert into the first single crochet. Work 4 double crochets. Continue picking stitches to work correspondingly 1 double crochet, 1 half double crochet and 2 single crochets. Skip 1 stitch. In the middle of these 3 single crochets, work 1 slip stitch. Don't pull too tight. We treat the crocheted stitches as a group. I'll demonstrate another one. Pick the entry position of the single crochets on the chains. Correspondingly make 2 single crochets, 1 half double crochet, 1 double crochet. Work 4 double crochets in this last entry position. Then pick stitches and work symmetrically to the right side. Then slip stitch 1 in the middle stitch below. The second group is completed. Continue following the chart to crochet the remaining 3 groups. For the slip stitch of the last group, work it into the entry position of the slip stitch of the previous round. Pull it tight. Enlarge the loop. Leave about 40 centimeters of tail before cutting the yarn. Tuck it to the back. Any remaining tail can be trimmed off. The small flower is now done. Next, add the pistil. Here I use a sample for demonstration. Thread the reserved yarn onto an embroidery needle. Exit from the clear textured front. Slightly off center. Then secure 1 bead. Different styles have different bead colors. For the sample, the color is random. Sew a few times to secure. Leave the tail for now. One small flower is now completed. Make the others using the same method. That concludes the small flowers. Next, let's learn about the iris. There are different color schemes. All start from foundation chain. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise along the chain. The new stitches used are SC 3 in 1, DC 2 in 1, treble crochet, double triple crochet, and DC 3 in 1. Please watch me demonstrate the specific method. Start with a foundation chain. Then crochet round 1. Begin with a chain as beginning chain. Start from the second to last chain. Pick the back loops and work single crochets correspondingly. Work 3 single crochets in the last chain. When you reach the other side of the foundation chain, insert the previous stitch's entry positions and work single crochets correspondingly. Mind not to crochet into the very right chain. Weave in the tail together. Crochet 2 single crochets in the last entry position. Finish with a slip stitch in the starting stitch and fasten off. Round 1 is complete. We will consider the side with clearer texture as the front. Move on to crochet round 2. Join the yarn at the entry position of the slip stitch from the previous round. Make 1 chain. For the round that starts with a single crochet, always making 1 chain as beginning chain. I won't repeat this from now on. Crochet 1 single crochet in the same stitch. Then continue by corresponding make 3 single crochets. Four half double crochets. Six double crochets. One treble crochet. Yarn over twice. Insert. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. Treble crochet is complete. Continue with 1 more treble crochet, yarn over twice. Insert. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. Treble crochet is complete. Work 1 more treble crochet. Work 3 treble crochets in the next stitch. After completing, work 3 double treble crochets in the left stitch. Start with the first stitch, yarn over 3 times. Insert. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 4 times. The double treble crochet is completed. Continue with the second stitch. Yarn over 3 times. Insert. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 4 times. The second stitch is completed. Work another double treble crochet in the same stitch. Next, crochet 7 double treble crochets on the left stitch. After completing these, you'll be on the other side. Refer to the chart and crochet stitches symmetrical to the right side. Work SC3 in 1 on the last stitch. That is, work 3 single crochets in the same stitch. The SC3 in 1 is completed. Join with a slip stitch and fasten off. Round 2 is complete. Move on to round 3. Join the yarn at the entry position of the slip stitch from the previous round. Then correspondingly make 6 single crochets. Two half double crochets. One DC2 in 1. That is, work 2 double crochets in the same stitch. The DC2 in 1 is completed. Continue with 9 DC2 in 1. Then crochet 1 DC3 in 1. That is, work 3 double crochets in the same stitch. The DC3 in 1 is completed. Continue referring to the chart. Crochet the corresponding number of DC3 in 1 and DC2 in 1. Then correspondingly make 2 half double crochets. Seven single crochets. 1 SC 3 in 1. One single crochet. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 3 is complete. Finally, crochet round 4. First, crochet 6 single crochets referring to the chart. Next is the star marker. Here it represents 3 chains and 1 single crochet. That means chain 3 first. Then work 1 single crochet in the left stitch. Continue by chaining 3. 1 single crochet. Form such an edge. Repeat this process. Crochet until you reach the roughly corresponding position on the other side. After completing the star markers, continue with single crochets. Note, don't miss the SC3 in 1 stitch. End with a slip stitch. Leave a 30 cm tail before cutting the yarn. One petal of the iris is now crocheted. The others can be crocheted using the same method. Now let's learn about the leaves. We will start from foundation chain. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The new stitch used is the CH1 picket. Please watch me demonstrate the specific method. The foundation chain and round 1 are similar to those of the iris. Mind to work half double crochets in the middle. Everyone complete it. The sample has already been crocheted ahead of time. Now I'll demonstrate round 2. First, correspondingly make single crochets. All the way down to the middle stitch of the 3 single crochets, at the same position on the left side. Complete the corresponding position. Next, crochet a CH1 picket. Chain 1 first. Then insert into the front loop of the stitch below. That is, the strand closer to you, as well as the strand underneath. Slip stitch. You can tighten it slightly. Work another single crochet in the same entry position below. Continue with the corresponding stitches for the following stitches. Leave a 40 cm tail and cut the yarn. The leaf is now crocheted. Other leaves can be crocheted using the same method. Finally, let's learn about the calyx. We will start from foundation chain, then crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Please watch me demonstrate the specific method. Start with a foundation chain. Then crochet round 1. Begin with 3 chains. In the 4th chain from the last, pick the back loop and crochet 3 double crochets. Continue picking the back loop and work correspondingly 5 double crochets. Three half double crochets. Two single crochets. On the last stitch, work 3 single crochets. Crochet symmetrically on the other side. In this entry position, work 3 double crochets. Then join with a slip stitch in the first double crochet. Leave a 30 cm tail and cut the yarn. This completes one calyx. The remaining calyxes are crocheted using the same method. Next, let's learn about the stems. There are 3 in total. All are crocheted by combining 2 strands of yarn. You can refer to the chart to cut the corresponding length of yarn first. Fold it in half. Leave a yarn a little more than 3 times the stem length, and place it underneath. Hang the yarn and crochet chains. Start with a knot. Then hang the reserved yarn from front to back on the hook. Yarn over and draw through. Continue hanging the yarn. Draw through. Be mindful not to hang the yarn too tight. Repeat this process. Crochet until you reach roughly the corresponding length. Then hook out the tail. Pull tight. Leave the long tail for sewing later. That concludes the stem. Finally, assemble and sew all the parts together. Let's take a look at the finished product. Here are 3 stems of iris. They are distributed vertically across body section 2 of the front piece. On the left, there is one with a single petal. On the right, there are 2 with 3 petals each. Then, assemble the calyx and the stem. Next, sew and secure them along with the leaves. Align the bottoms with top of row 2 of section 2. The specific placement of the leaves and flowers. can refer to the finished product or adjust according to preference. Finally, add small flowers as accents. Next, I'll use a stem of 3 petals iris as an example to demonstrate the assembly method. First, take out 2 calyxes. Thread 1 tail into the needle. Place the calyxes fronts face each other. Sew stitches along both sides of the bottom about 1 centimeter. Insert into these stitches and sew up. Leave the other tail outside for now. After sewing, tie off and hide the tail. Next, take out 3 petals. Have them all with the back facing out. Wrap the bottoms around. Place the tails on the front. Stagger them like this. If it's a single petal iris, simply fold the bottom in half. Place them into the calyx. Thread the calyx yarn into the needle. Attach the calyx bottom to the iris bottom. Hide the tail when completed. Next, take out the stem. Use one of the reserved long tails to secure the stem to the calyx bottom. Hide the short tails inside the piece. Everyone, be mindful to hide a few more times, then trim off the excess tails. After securing the stem well, hide this tail as well. Leave the remaining tail outside. Thread it into the needle. Place the bouquet at the corresponding position on the front piece. The sample here is small. The position is random. Decide on the direction of the stem. Position the braid-like texture facing up. Sew it onto the piece securely. When sewing, be mindful to pick the surface strands to secure it. Make sure not to show obvious marks on both the front and back. Mindfully adjust the position while sewing to prevent becoming crooked. Once done, hide the tail. Next, thread the iris tail into the needle. Position the petals neatly. The bottom of the petals can be slightly gathered. Secure it. For the specific degree of openness, you can also adjust according to your preference. If there are leaves on either side of the petals, position the leaf tips upward. Place them in position. Sew them using the reserved yarn. The method is identical to that for sewing the stem. Make sure not to show visible marks on both the front and back. Once you've completed sewing the leaves, then secure the petals. The petals should be positioned above the leaves. Twist them according to your preference. Then sew them in place. When sewing, try to find a few points to secure. Avoid showing obvious sewing marks. Carry the yarn across from the piece of the same color to the corresponding position. Let the petals curl naturally. Finally, hide the tails. Secure the remaining petals according to your preference. Everyone, complete it. So one iris is sewn well, other leaves and small flowers are all with the front facing up, sew them onto the corresponding positions using the same method. Note that the small flowers should be placed on top. That concludes the front piece decorations. Lastly, let's learn about the earrings. There are two with different color schemes. Both are divided into the stem, the calyx and the iris. The crochet method for the calyx and the iris is the same as the front piece decorations. Everyone, complete it. Now I'll demonstrate the stem and assembly. Take out the corresponding stem yarn. Fold it in half. Leave a tail a little more than 3 times the length of the stem. The length of the sample is random. Here, the length of the stem can be adjusted according to need. Hook the yarn out through the hole of the ear clip. Here, you can also choose an ear hook according to need. Also insert into the hole. And hang the yarn to crochet. The method is the same as that for the previous stem. Crochet until the length is appropriate, then hook out the yarn. The stem is now completed. Next, take out the calyx and the iris. Sew the calyxes with the front sides together using the previous method. Then hide the tail. The tail of the iris don't need to be sewn. It can be hidden directly. Using the remaining yarn of the calyx. To secure the bottom of the iris into the calyx. Fold it with the back out as well. After securing it, hide the tail. Finally, using the stem yarn. Secure itself to the bottom of the calyx. Here, trim the other 3 tails after leaving a bit. Hide them into the piece. Once completed, hide all the tails. And there you have it, one earring finished. The accessories have been explained. Up to this point, the vest has been fully explained. If you have any questions while crocheting, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, enjoying the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.